everything is on the line as both Universe 7 and Universe 11 collide in the final 4 minutes of the Tournament of Power, as we have brand new spoilers revealing shocking eliminations alongside the mastery of a technique and power that Goku is going to have going into Dragon Ball Super Episode 129 that may give him the advantage over one of the most powerful warriors ever seen in the Dragon Ball franchise. And on today's video, we will be discussing our thoughts and opinions going forward in regards to the recent Dragon Ball Super Episodes 127 to 129 spoilers, in which gives us additional information as to the final 2 minutes of the Tournament of Power. So strap on in and hold on to your Dragon Balls, because we are going to be talking about the recent Dragon Ball Super spoilers next. If you guys like the Dragon Ball content that I provide on this channel, then make sure you guys punch that subscribe button with notifications enabled to be the first to receive all the latest in Dragon Ball content and be a part of the Dragon Ball squad. And also don't forget to follow me on these social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, to stay connected with me at all times. Hashtag Dragon Ball Squad. Thank you so very much for your support. Now let's begin. As the Tournament of Power begins to dwindle on down with only 4 minutes remaining in the ring, we have brand new spoilers for Dragon Ball Super Episode 127, 128, and 129, which reveal shocking information in regards to Android 17 and Vegeta as the only person left in the ring standing to fight off against Universe 11's mightiest warrior is of course Son Goku, but not without there being a twist in Goku mastering Ultra Instinct to get the job done against Jiren. And joining me here today to tackle the subject of the spoilers is my good friend SuperSaiyanPaul. Now Paul, welcome back onto the channel. We've been discussing this off camera. We've been discussing the events of these spoilers and everything that's going to happen in the episodes coming up, with Android 17 sacrificing himself, with Vegeta having no energy left in fighting back, but yet he still has the willpower to continue. What I wanted to ask you is, how do you feel about knowing what you know about Dragon Ball Super Episode 127, 128, and 129, with 17 having to sacrifice himself, which I've said this many times before, 17 has been the MVP. He's been one of the top MVPs of this tournament in protecting people, saving his sister, saving Son Goku, breaking through, barriers and having to, provide substance for his team, and then ultimately realizing that Vegeta is down on his luck. He has nothing else remaining, and thus, with that being said, Jiren is going to capitalize in wringing him out eventually going into episode 128, but also for Goku to master Ultra Instinct. For me, I'm not too big of a fan of Goku mastering this, because if you ask me, it just seems a tad bit too early for him to do that. If there was another arc confirmed, which of course as of this recording there's not, if there was another arc after this, I could understand Goku mastering it then. But here, it just seems like it's being done way too quick. I mean, all the episodes right now just feel like they're being rushed, and it's gonna come down to a split here. We have no information on Frieza, we don't know what the hell's gonna happen, and this fight can go in one of 3 different ways. Jiren wins, Goku wins, or Frieza wins. It's going to come down to those, because 17 and Vegeta are going to be eliminated. And with that being said, I wanted to get your thoughts as to how you feel about this and what can we expect as we go into these episodes, because for me, we can expect a bloodbath, we can expect all hell to break loose, and I personally feel that if Jiren isn't using his full power then, he's going to use his full power against Ultra Instinct Goku. And again, if you guys are curious, we do have several videos planned on dropping this week and next week in particular that covers the mastery of Ultra Instinct, Frieza's role going into the tournament, and many other videos planned. So Paul, what's your take on the spoilers, and how do you feel about the elimination order that we're going to see from 17 and Vegeta?
My thoughts and opinions on the matter and how this is going to play out is that we noticed that 17 was going to be using his barrier of some sorts, or his final barrier, in the next episode 127 at the time of this recording, and we knew that Toppo was even able to overcome that, so Jiren should be able to push that aside like it's nothing. Android 17 doesn't really have what it takes to take on Jiren at the moment, even though I don't take that away from his character. He was an MVP during the entire tournament, everything like that. But right after that, Vegeta's going to fall, and it seems as though after everything he's done with Toppo, he has no energy left. And it seems the next episode is going to be it's going to mainly have 17 protecting him, and then after that, Vegeta's going to have to go all out with whatever he has left and inevitably get defeated by Jiren. After that, Goku has Goku has no energy at the time of when Vegeta's fighting Jiren anyway, and that's when Goku probably unlocks Mastered Ultra Instinct form, or Ultra Instinct again, directly after Vegeta's wrung out. Most likely, as soon as he's wrung out, Goku's gonna get back up and fight Jiren. Now, they did not mention anything about Frieza.
No, nothing.
And the only thing that we've seen in these spoilers is that it says that's misleading as ever is that only Goku and Jiren remain in the arena.
Right.
However,
right.
Not a single thing was said about Frieza and his whereabouts. Now, Frieza has been the most ominous threat inside this entire tournament. We've noticed that he's actually been kind of useful in some types of occasions.
He's been very condescending too, let's not take that away. He's been very condescending, and he's been picking his spots very carefully because he knows, he even told Goku at some point, you know, I'm not the one who's going to be fighting the monster, you are. You're going to be the one fighting Jiren. I need you to get stronger. So as we go into episode 127, we understand that it's because of Goku and Vegeta's resolve that they end up getting tired, and going into 128, thanks to 17 sacrificing himself to assist Goku and Vegeta, it's essentially down to them and there's no sign of Frieza. So as we go into episode 128, Goku seems to be covered in wounds. So I can only assume that it's because of Jiren's onslaught. Maybe Jiren's overwhelming power gets the better of Goku, and it only makes sense because Goku really can't continue any longer, and for him to sit back and watch Vegeta, who has no power left, go all in and have this immense struggle with Jiren just for him to get wrung out, I think it's respectable because this reminds me a lot of the Kid Buu story when we saw the conclusion of Kid Buu versus Vegeta and Goku. Goku was pretty much, you know, left buying time for him to recover while Vegeta was the one fighting Kid Buu, and although Vegeta had nothing left in his reserve when he fought Kid Buu, he still tried. He still went out there and he gave it his all. So what's your thoughts on Vegeta essentially getting tossed out? Because right now, because of the final explosion, he has no power. He's fighting based off of just instincts alone. He's using whatever reserve he has left to continue the fight. So what are your thoughts on Vegeta? Do you believe that he's going to put up a great fight before he gets tossed out, or do you think that in some way, shape, or form it's going to be a one-sided fight and Jiren's just going to dominate entirely?
See, the thing with the Kid Buu fight, Vegeta still, even though he was on like he was so out of place with that fight because he was so underpowered in terms of him and Kid Buu. With Jiren, we just saw him go all out with Toppo. However, he has zero energy left, and for him to even put up that much of an entertaining fight, I'm not sure if that's possible without without having some ass pulls, of course. Like he just used up everything. He just did final explosion
even said
and survived.
He has nothing left. He used up all of his energy to, you know, commence with the final explosion. And to his credit, he did fight Toppo, who was, you know, bodying him, because if you go back to the episode, right, you get to see that during one-on-one combat, Vegeta was on the run. He was mostly on the run because he knew that Toppo was an obstacle that he needed to overcome, but towards the end of the episode, Vegeta bounced back, he got some great hits on Toppo, and then he promised him and he told him, I'm going to unleash an attack that not even you can deflect, not even you can overcome, that being the final flash. So all of that power, all of that energy from Ultra Super Saiyan Blue being, you know, put into the form of an explosion, there's nothing left. So for him to go in there, and not only that, but Goku ends up collapsing from exhaustion, which pretty much leaves Vegeta alone to face off against Jiren. So do you think that in this fight, Goku sustains a bit more damage than Vegeta that causes him to collapse, or do you believe that they're both going to be equally tired, but the only thing keeping Vegeta afloat is possibly, you know, just using the willpower of his pride to continue the fight?
I think it's mostly going to be because of pride. I think Goku might, if anything, it would make sense for Goku to take a hit because Goku should have a bit more power than Vegeta at this point in time. Seeing as Vegeta, like, went all out. He should have been dead if it was a final explosion, but he survived that and all. And with him fighting Jiren here, we know he's underpowered against Jiren. Super Saiyan Blue, with even if it's his new form, isn't enough to take on Jiren. We all know this, and I'm not sure how they're going to stretch like 20 minutes of him getting his ass beat with this, because if you have nothing left, how are you able to fight for 20 minutes in an episode? I think if anything, he should be instantly knocked out. If anything, he shouldn't be able to put up a fight. But if they do make him go out in a very decent way, I would respect that, him knowing that he's on empty right now. However, will it be as respectable as the Kid Buu fight? I'm not entirely sure about that, because yeah, Vegeta was really good in this tournament. However, is it going to be as memorable as the Kid Buu thing for me? I'm not entirely sure. That depends on how Jiren plays out in these last few episodes, because Toppo was an underutilized character, and that took away from Vegeta. Even though Vegeta basically defeated a god, Toppo was still underwhelming as it was. But Vegeta had his moment and everything, but the lesser the villain, I think the less memorable it's gonna be. And I think Kid Buu still is above Toppo in my head. And if Jiren doesn't really quite match up to that, it's gonna take away from Vegeta yet again.
Well, I mean, in terms of, you know, brutality, I would say yes, Kid Buu was above Toppo when it comes to brutality, because Kid Buu unleashed, you know, more of a barrage of attacks on Vegeta that caused Vegeta to, you know, he was rendered immobile by the end of the fight. He could not stand up. So yes, when it comes to just pure brutality, I agree. Kid Buu was a lot more brutal towards Vegeta than how Toppo was. However, I think I disagree with you in the idea that this is going to be memorable, because think about it like this. Vegeta is fighting the strongest person he's ever fought before. And despite having, you know, to be inferior when it comes to power, despite not having any power at all, he's still managing to transcend into Ultra Super Saiyan Blue again and continue the fight. And despite what level Jiren is at, you know, Vegeta isn't afraid to overcome, or at least, you know, take on that challenge. So for that alone, you gotta give him respect, because how many people originally thought he was going to make it past 122 when he first fought Jiren? And not only did he withstand the explosion, but he came back after that and fought Jiren some more, came back, fought him again, then fought Toppo, and now it's back to Jiren again. So, you know, I think that he is going to be memorable without a doubt. I just think that it's all the Vegito and Gogeta theories are now out the window. There have been lots of, you know, misinformation and clickbait going around about Vegito confirmed, Gogeta confirmed. It's not confirmed. Of course, it never was to begin with, but I guess we can rule that out of the window in the idea that Goku and Vegeta are going to work together to create, you know, a fusion-like being to fight Jiren. But now, going into episode 129, transcending the limit, mastering Ultra Instinct. Now, going into episode 129, there are 2 minutes remaining until the end of the Tournament of Power, and now it's only down to Goku and Jiren. And going into this episode, that, you know, knowing the fact that Goku is stuck in a tough fight against Jiren with his overwhelming attacks, all of a sudden Goku, you know, his pupils start to shine silver, his hair begins to change, he goes back into Ultra Instinct. Now, going into episode 130 and 131, we can only assume that these guys are going to, you know, bang it out until the very end. What are your overall thoughts on mastered Ultra Instinct Goku having to square up against a full-powered Jiren? Because I think it's definitely an ass pull that Goku masters something that not even the gods, who have spent possibly thousands of years trying to obtain, had even, you know, an inch of an idea as to obtaining it themselves. All of a sudden, this mortal comes along and achieving it so quickly. This is the third time that he goes into that state of divinity or power, and he's able to master it so quickly. So that's the only concept that I disagree with, is seeing him master it. But as we go into episode 129, it's going to be the final fight. A lot of us, you know, prognosticated this from the beginning, that ever since the inception of this tournament, it was going to come down to Goku and Jiren. This has been building up for months, or for over a year now, and it's been blatantly, like, it was blatantly shown in your face, you know, with outros and intros and spoilers and whatnot. So going into this final fight, what do you think the outcome is going to be? And who do you favor in winning this fight? Looking at it from like a logical standpoint, because with Jiren having to be way beyond the god and Goku having to master this Ultra Instinct power, who do you see winning in the end?
Honestly, at this point, I would have to give it to plot armor and ass pulls, with Goku being the winner. There are different routes that they can still go with this. Like, it's not confirmed and set in stone for it to be Goku, but for now, it seems like it's going to be for Goku, because if they're going to have this new form, and the poster for this entire tournament was that picture of Goku without the shirt.
Yeah, with the red and blue aura in the background too.
The amount of hype behind that one picture is amazing. For them to underplay that and have him be defeated would probably be a waste of this new form and everything. Jiren doesn't really have a new form or anything hinted towards in this. They just know that he's going to be fully powered up. Nothing aesthetically changed. So they would really underutilize mastering Ultra Instinct. And honestly, they're still kind of underutilizing Jiren at this point in time, because there's not that much like behind him as much as Toppo was. But with that being said, if they're going to have a new form, it has to defeat the new guy, even if it's an ass pull, because what's the point of hyping it up to this point and it having it be nearing the end of the series here and not have it win? Honestly, that would be like, it would downplay the form so much that it wouldn't make sense to even have it in the first place. And how are they going to sell action figures for that and stuff like that, you know?
No, definitely from a marketing standpoint, they need to do that, because, you know, Japan and Toei has been making so much money off of this. I mean, that's their MO. That's their bottom dollar, is trying to make profit, which you have to understand. I mean, that's what they're all about as an LLC. But I just feel like, in my opinion, it just seems kind of weird how all of a sudden Goku masters Ultra Instinct and then collides with Jiren. I mean, do I agree with the fight? Sure, it's going to be an entertaining fight because now we finally get to see what both of these entities can do when going up, when going up against each other at full power. However, there is a wild card in this entire fight, and that's Frieza. Frieza is not eliminated, but Frieza is hidden in the shadows. He's lurking somewhere. And what's terrifying about this is we have no information as to where he is, what he's doing, and what I wanted to ask you is, do you think that, by the end, Frieza is going to be the deciding factor as to what happens? Let's say, for example, we can have one of three situations come about. We can either have situation A, Goku ends up bringing out Jiren, and then all of a sudden from behind we see Frieza coming in and just tossing out Goku, which, and in turn, Frieza wins. We have scenario B, Goku and Jiren are just clashing and going blow for blow, and Frieza pushes them both out. Or we have, situation C, which is pretty much just all three of them remaining until the end of the timer, but Universe 7 ends up winning just because they have more people. So how do you think Frieza is going to be incorporated in this? And do you think that he's going to be a deciding factor in there being a winner by the end of this tournament?
Well, I think he definitely has to be a deciding factor because they're going to underutilize him to the fullest. Probably the biggest letdown of the entire tournament if they do not have Frieza do something game-changing in these last few episodes. You do not hype up a character to this extent, even have his revival that iconic in this series, and everything around him being one of the most iconic villains in Dragon Ball history, and just have him just do nothing in these last few episodes. Right. I think I would rather see him betray Goku at this point and get the wish and wish for something completely out there that would change the whole game, rather than just have him stick on the sidelines and just help Goku push Jiren out. I think it would really fit the MO with all of the deviousness and all the sideline plotting that he's done to wring Goku out as soon as Goku, if he wins or if there's a stalemate. That would be the most in-character thing. Otherwise, he's gonna play I'm the bad guy turning good guy card. I'm gonna help Goku take out Jiren right now, and we're all gonna live hand in hand after this, which I don't really want to see. I want to see something bad happen so they can continue with more episodes in another series, maybe.
It's most interesting because I feel like how interesting would it be if, let's say Frieza does get the wish, and right before he's about to make his wish or whatever, somehow in some way, he ends up returning back in hell before he can make the wish because he burned himself out on time. If you remember how Super Saiyan 3 Goku was when he was, back on Earth, when he fought against Majin Buu, when he went into Super Saiyan 3, it burned out a lot of his, remaining time, and thus he had to go back, to the other world a bit early than how he originally was before using Super Saiyan 3. So that would be an interesting concept. Frieza wins, and they pretty much ask him, what is your wish? And he goes, my wish is, and then he just suddenly vanishes and he goes back to hell because his timer ran up. So therefore there is no wish. I mean, Universe 7 does win, but it's because of that they end up restoring everything, everyone goes home, and that's the end of the show. But going into episode 129 though, how long do you think this fight's going to be with Ultra Instinct Goku and Jiren? Is it going to take up the entirety of episode 129 and episode 130? Is it possibly going to go into 131 as we reach the conclusion? What are your overall thoughts on that? And just as a whole, what are your overall thoughts on the spoilers revealing, 17's sacrifice, revealing Vegeta's noble honor in keeping up even while depleted on energy, Goku mastering Ultra Instinct, and Frieza having to be hidden? What are your overall thoughts as to what we're going to get, and what are you most excited for as we go into these episodes?
I feel like from this point on, it's gonna be really straightforward up until like the last two episodes. Everything's moving as most of us predicted, but with the Goku and Jiren fight, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is seeing. Honestly, I would rather see over Goku, Jiren, or Frieza get the wish, because that would make Dragon Ball Super stand out amongst everything, because we know how our heroes are going to use the Dragon Balls. They're just going to use it for good. But with villains, or even Jiren's point of view, if he views himself as a good guy or anything like that, I want to see what their wish is and how it can change the entire game, and that will make Super end on an actual good note, because depending on how game-changing that is, that basically closes the chapter for the Super Dragon Balls, if it really does, like, completely, and like if it affects the entire universe. Like, imagine Frieza's wish and this entire story of Dragon Ball Super revolved around what it ends with him having the final wish here. That's what I'm really excited to see. But honestly, I feel like it might just be Goku wins and then he gets the wish and they just wish for everybody back, and and just downplays the entire thing. That's not what I want, but I feel like that's what's going to happen here because it's moving very straightforward and it's moving at a rushed pace.
I definitely agree, but I really cannot wait to see what the outcome of Goku versus Jiren is going to be, because Frieza, I think, is going to be such a deciding factor of this tournament, given the fact that he's going to be on the sidelines watching while everybody else is, you know, struggling. Vegeta struggling, 17 is struggling, Goku struggling, and Frieza's the only one, granted, who's MIA in this fight. Do I believe that Frieza might assist Goku? It's highly possible, or we might see him emerge at the very end and doing somewhat of a sneak attack. Actually, in case you guys are unaware, I did 3 separate videos talking about the conclusion of the tournament, which pretty much primarily focused on Frieza winning, Jiren winning, and Goku winning. If you guys haven't seen those, make sure you guys go ahead and check those out. And it's very intriguing to me how it's come full circle, having to go back to the Super Dragon Ball Heroes trailer when we saw Golden Frieza and Son Goku versus Jiren at the finals, or at least from what it seemed like the finals of the tournament, because there was nobody left in the ring, and with nobody left in the ring, it's pretty much open season for Jiren in targeting Goku and Frieza. But since Frieza is going to be MIA, Goku, it's going to come down to Goku in winning this. But the only thing I really disagree with is seeing Goku master Ultra Instinct. I don't have a problem with him achieving Ultra Instinct and using Ultra Instinct, fine, whatever. You have a power that not even the gods have, which is cool, you know, but for him to master that, and think about it like this, the gods have been training and wanting to obtain this power for possibly eons, and for him to just come on in within 48 minutes, obtaining that power and using it 3 times, I'm calling it to be an ass pull. I'm not crapping on Goku, I'm not crapping on the anime, I'm crapping on the writing, because they could have more or less saved this if they wanted to bring Dragon Ball Super back after its hiatus, after the movie's finished in December, and they could always tell a story of Goku mastering Ultra Instinct afterwards, coming across a new villain. But instead here, they're having this be-all end-all fight, and Goku's going to be mastering this power. Props to 17, props to Vegeta, hell, even props to Frieza for surviving this long, because we don't know where he is, what he's doing, but it's going to be very interesting in seeing the placement for this tournament, because everyone seems to be scrambling right now and trying to defeat Jiren, but it's a matter of actually doing it. So let us know your thoughts down below, guys, if you guys cannot wait to see episodes 127, 128, and 129, and of course the final 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Super premiering in March with episode 130 and 131. Let us know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, consider punching that subscribe button, guys. Turn on all notifications, that way you guys can be notified whenever a brand new video is posted onto this channel. Tune back in for more. Check out SuperSaiyanPaul's channel down below, guys, as well, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section, everybody. Cue my outro, bitch.